Welcome to the April 20th, 2026 Troy City Council meeting. We request that you silence your cell phones for the duration of the meeting, please. And tonight's invocation and pledge is led by Mr. Twist. Please stand.
If you'd bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the warmer weather that is coming our way. We ask that you would watch over the city, guide us and direct us this evening, Lord. We ask a special blessing on all our teachers and educators as we come near the end of the school year and it becomes challenging. Give them the strength and patience that they need. Also ask that you would give our citizens patience as we have some construction going on, Lord, and just give us that patience as we get through that era. And we ask that in your name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Knight, could you please call the roll?
Mrs. Westfall? Here. Mr. Phillips?
Here.
Mrs. Snee? Here. Mr. Whidden?
Here.
Mr. Sievert?
Here.
Ms. Hickman? Here. Mr. Schilling?
Present.
Mrs. Marshall? Here. Mr. Twist?
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you. First thing tonight we're going to do is the mayor and the fire chief are going to induct and give the oath to our newest firefighter. Mayor.
We'll call up Aaron Colvin. So Aaron is, he just came to us. We actually robbed him from Jeremy Drake in the Parks Department. We scoped out the best workers in the city and we heard good things about Aaron. Now Aaron Colvin comes to us. He is a 2023 graduate of Newton High School. He has served over in the western part of the county. I think he served in Covington, Newton, and Ludlow. So we're excited to have him. He is a firefighter level 2 and an EMT. And yeah, we're excited to have Aaron to start your career. So we want to swear you in today. All right. All right.
I'm not going to swear at you. We're going to swear to you. All right. Just face me. That way your parents can see your face and watch as you do this. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, in your name,
I, Aaron Colvin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the state of Ohio against all enemies,
and the state of Ohio against all enemies,
both foreign and domestic,
both foreign and domestic,
and I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge my duties as firefighter
discharge my duties as firefighter
of the city of Troy, Miami County,
of the city of Troy and Miami County
under the appointment of the department
under the appointment of the department
according to the laws of the state of Ohio,
according to the laws of the state of Ohio,
to the best of my skills and
to
abilities.
the best of my skills and abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I'd like to present Aaron with his Troy Fire Department helmet.
It says probationary. That doesn't have to stay there. But, so I've known this young man since he was, how old? 4 or 5? Yeah, I mean, really little. So you've grown up on me. Not fair to put me in this position, but congratulations. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you very much.
New challenge.
They're kind of everywhere.
Congratulations, Coach.
sit so we can get on business? Mrs. Knight, could you please read the summary of the minutes of the April 6th meeting, please?
Minutes of council, April 6th. Committee reports, Law and Ordinance Committee recommended that legislation be prepared authorizing the law director to act as agent for an annexation. Streets and Sidewalks Committee recommended the ordinance of assessment for the South Stanfield reconstruction project be prepared, and the ordinance of assessment for the 2024 sidewalk replacement program and missing gap program be prepared. Ordinance number 016, 2026, assessments for sidewalk construction associated with South Stanfield Road was given first reading and adopted. Ordinance number 016, 2026, assessments for phase 16 of the sidewalk improvement program, first reading and adopted. Ordinance number 017, 2026, authorizing director of law to be agent for an annexation, was given first reading and adopted. There was a presentation regarding the Great Miami Riverway. Following various comments, council adjourned at 7:55 p.m.
Move to approve the minutes?
Second.
Motion to approve the minutes by Mr. Whidden, second by Mrs. Westfall. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Thank you. Committee reports this evening. Community and Economic Development, Mrs. Snee.
Thank you. We have two items. On the first item, the committee members Hickman and Snee met April 13th to review a recommendation from the Troy Planning Commission that the final record plan of Phase 2 of the Somerset Reserve Plan Development Residential PDR be approved as it conforms to the approved general plan and final development plan. This PD is located at the southwest corner of Nashville Road and West Market Street. This committee supports the recommendation of the Troy Planning Commission and recommends that legislation be prepared to approve the final record plan of Phase 2 of the Somerset Reserve Planned Development Residential, PDR, and the dedication of right-of-way. And this is respectfully submitted, Ms. Hickman, Mr. Twist, and myself as chair.
Questions or comments? Please continue.
Thank you. For our second item, committee members Snee and Hickman met April 13th to discuss extending two moratoriums that are connected to the current development of the new Unified Development Code, UDC, that will combine the city's zoning code, subdivision regulations, the sign code, fence code, and related zoning matters into a single document. The current moratoriums run through May 30th, 2026. It is the recommendation of this committee that legislation be prepared extending moratoriums by an additional 90-day period commencing May 31st, 2026 regarding 1, accepting new applications and the issuance of permits related to community-oriented residential social service facilities, and 2, accepting new applications and the issuance of permits related to automobile fuel dispensing stations and automobile service stations. The committee supports emergency legislation so that the moratoriums are continuous. The committee also asks that council be provided with a draft copy of the UDC when it is provided to the Planning Commission, and would like to see the UDC process accomplished as quickly as possible. And this is respectfully submitted by Ms. Hickman, Mr. Twist, and myself as chair.
Questions? Moving on. Community Partnerships, Mrs. Westfall.
Thank you, Mr. President. This committee met April 13th regarding a new street sign agreement. The current agreement expired in December, but had been extended during negotiations, which are handled by the Miami County Communications Council, MBCC. The MBCC has recommended a new 7-year agreement, retroactive to January 1st, 2026. Provisions are discussed in the detailed report. It is the recommendation of this committee that legislation be prepared authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety to enter into a 7-year full-service street lighting agreement with Miami Valley Lighting, LLC, with such agreement retroactive to January 1st, 2026, so that the new agreement can be executed prior to the end of April. Committee supports emergency legislation. Respectfully submitted, Jeffrey Schilling, Jeffrey Whidden, and myself as Chair, Susan Westfall.
Questions? Please continue.
This committee also met January 13th regarding a lease arrangement with the Community Improvement Corporation of Troy, Ohio, CIC, for the property known as the Barn in the Park. This would permit the CIC to handle future subleases of the property. This has been recommended by the Board of Park Commissioners and will be considered by the CIC on April 22nd. Subject to a supportive recommendation by the CIC, it is the recommendation of this committee that legislation be prepared authorizing a lease between the Board of Park Commissioners and the Community Improvement Corporation of Troy, Ohio, for the property known as the Barn in the Park, so that the CIC can handle future subleases of the property, so that a lease can be executed as soon as possible. Committee supports emergency legislation. Respectfully submitted, Jeffrey Schilling, Jeffrey Whidden, and myself as Chair, Susan Westfall.
Questions, comments? You have one more, correct?
Yes, I do. Again, this committee met on April 13th regarding the 2026 Troy Strawberry Festival to be held June 5th through the 7th. The festival is to take place in both the downtown and levee areas. With the activation of an area of the DORA temporary boundary, the Troy Area Chamber of Commerce will be able to sell alcohol on the upper levee June 6th and 7th. The event will continue to provide an opportunity for the local nonprofits to raise money for community purposes while providing an opportunity for residents and visitors to enjoy an outstanding event. It is the recommendation of this committee that legislation be prepared authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety to enter into an agreement with the Troy Area Chamber of Commerce for the 2026 Troy Strawberry Festival and provide for the standard notwithstanding legislation and authorize activation of a portion of the DORA Strawberry Activation Boundary so that the temporary liquor permit application can be submitted by the Chamber. The committee supports emergency legislation. Respectfully submitted, Jeffrey Schilling, Jeffrey Whidden, myself as Chair, Susan Westfall.
Thank you. Any questions? Citizens' comments on anything we have on the agenda tonight, please come forward, give your name and address for the record. At this point, you'll have 2 minutes, and Mr. Kerber will keep time if necessary.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Simpson. I'm an attorney with Finney Law Firm. My address is 635 Main Street, Cincinnati, Ohio. I am here with my client, Mandeep Singh, who owns Troy Station LLC, along with his contractor. Is it okay if we all present at the same time? It may make more sense, or if you would prefer, we can do it separately.
You have 2 minutes right now.
Okay,
At the
well,
end,
we'll do it separately then.
Okay.
So we appreciated the opportunity. Mr. Singh was not here last week. He had, for the committee meeting, he had an accident and was not physically able to be here. So we're back just because we want to, I know a lot of the city council members and the mayor were present and have heard what we wanted to say. We wanted to give at least abbreviated version to the full council. And also I wanted everybody to have an opportunity to meet my client since he wasn't able to be here last week. So Troy Station LLC, back in 2023, well, let me first tell you the piece of property we're talking about. We're talking about a piece of property at the southeast corner of Dye Mill Road and South County Road 25A. And Troy Station LLC has been working with the city for over a couple years now on plans to build a gas station at that corner. And back on July 17, 2023, the zoning was changed to allow that type of use, and it was ordinance 0-37-2023. Then on August 18th, 2023, my clients, planners and designers, submitted the formal plans for the gas station and began a process with the city of reviewing those plans that went for quite a long time, and my client incurred quite a bit of expense. He paid about $170,000 for the property itself, but on top of that, there's been about $400,000 more worth of investment relying on, this change in zoning and on this process. And things were going smoothly, and by the time we got to January, I mean, the city even followed up with him in November of 2024 and said, you know, where are things? And they're
You got about 10 seconds to wrap it up, and we'll move on for 2
10
minutes.
seconds, okay. My understanding is that in Troy, the way the development department likes to do it is you go through this process, and then you, when everything's pretty much agreed to, you file the formal application and pay the fee. They were about to that point when the moratorium went in place. So we had asked the committee for an exception for my client. The committee was not willing to do that. So we're asking for the same thing tonight, or in the alternative, that you just make sure that the UDC process go fast, because he had was willing to wait till May 30th, but now is concerned about construction schedules and things like that for 90 more days.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And he's gonna.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask Ms.
Sure.
the attorney.
The attorney, we got your question for you.
Brad?
I apologize, I'm so sorry.
I have a question for you.
Sure thing.
The buster is still outstanding, is that true?
The buster is approved from the state and submitted. Have you submitted it to the
Yes,
city?
it's approved,
Okay,
and we sent a copy to Austin.
Yes.
thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you all.
Your 2 minutes are on.
Okay, we started the project in like August 2023, and we got the zoning done for the gas station. Since that day, we were making the plans, drawings, and engineers were working on it. I was sending all the emails to the city, getting one thing approved at a time. It took us months to get everything approved, like almost 2 years, but last thing, the building got approved, so I kept spending money on little things, like we bought the building already, paid the engineers, paid the architects to get the plans ready, and I'm almost like $600,000 spending on this project. And I'm not here to assign any blame to anybody, just wanting help from you guys just to get my project finished. And I just need council help, so if you guys can give me exemption before that extension you file for moratorium, that'll be great.
Okay. Name and address for the record for Mrs. Knight.
Sorry?
Name and address
Okay.
for Mrs. Knight for the record. On the mic. Yeah, sure.
My name's Mandeep Singh. Address 8050 Vegas Circle, Westchester, Ohio, 45069. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Matthew with Ryan Innovations, 9674 Corrigan Avenue. I'm just here to support my client. He didn't make it last time. I just speak to construction that I know he was under the impression that he did have the permit ready to go. He was telling me to start construction, and we kind of ran into this issue. And I could just mention the fact that the construction schedule is obviously going to be significantly affected by this moratorium. It already has been, with project costs changing with this type of delay, and also getting in the winter season. This is a significant project, and we're just asking for consideration in the context of how this kind of happened, being it was a project that went through thorough reviews, not just coming in off the street after the moratorium happened, but it's been a long process that we've kind of been, where they've been kind of going through it with the city, and we're just asking for consideration of the context of how we got in this situation. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Bradley Beringer, 105 Crestwood Drive, and I'm also going to speak to Ordinance 019, 2026. Seems to me we got a big problem here, and the problem is an issue of definition. Section 1133.02 of the Troy Zoning Code as it stands says, defines an application as including all written documentation, verbal statements, and representations in whatever form or forum made by an applicant to the city of Troy. Now, to my layman's eyes and my layman's way of thinking, that would say that what Mr. Singh has done to this date constitutes an application made before the moratorium went into place. But Mr. Davis here is saying no, that's not the case because the online form was not used. Well, there's a tension here. Which is correct? And I think honestly that this UDC, Uniform Development Code, is a red herring to pass these moratoriums, because the way I see it, with the Uniform Development Code being worked on, we would still operate under the old zoning code, which includes the definition I just read. Now, it goes on to say in section 1131.02, section S, I believe, that one of the stated purposes of our zoning code is to enhance the predictability and profitability of private investments made in the city. Well, I don't think that we're doing that here with this situation. So what I would ask of you to do is to amend Ordinance 019-2026 to allow Mr. Singh and his partners to put this gas station in as it stands. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Can I ask Mr. Tiddington a question?
Sure can, Mr. Siebert.
Mr. Tiddington, I just want to clarify, and my understanding is correct. Once this delay is we're waiting for the UDC. Once the UDC is adopted by this council, then the moratorium will be lifted automatically without additional acts by the council. Is that correct?
That is mostly correct.
Okay.
Not adopted by the council, but effective after the council adopts it.
Okay.
So whatever that date is, then the moratorium would be lifted as of the effective date of the new UDC. It does not have to necessarily go the whole 90 days, depending on how quickly the UDC is adopted and becomes effective.
And so this would be a good time to explain the emergency aspect. So if we do it by emergency, it would be effective the next day as opposed to a 30-day delay.
That's correct.
Which would happen if we didn't do it by emergency.
That's correct. So that could be a consideration by the council.
Thank you.
Anyone? Jeff? Mr. Schilling?
And I have a question for Mr. Titterington. According to what I remember you saying in the committee meeting on last Monday, that in reality you don't have any idea what the new code, what the new document says about gas stations or basically anything else, that this has been sort of a hands-off deal over the last year or so. So you don't know what the new regulations are.
I mean, I don't have all the details, no. It's been devised and drafted by our consultant with the planning staff. They've been handling the details to this point. Mr. Kerber has reviewed that draft, and now I think there's going to be a page turn, if there hasn't been one already, and then it'll come to the Planning Commission. I will participate in that page turn.
Okay, but right now you don't have any idea really
I don't.
You don't, from what you said last week, you really don't have any idea about this particular part of the new planning code.
I have not seen the recommended language that's in the draft UDC.
Okay. Have we ever had any problems with the 22 gas stations in the city of Troy now with violations of the current zoning codes and that type of thing?
I imagine that we've had issues from time to time. It depends on what. I'm not exactly sure which direction you're going. I could.
Well, what my question is that, I mean, we have 22 gas stations that are in operation in the city of Troy now, and to the best of my knowledge, they are all following the zoning codes and all the other regulations that we may have that helps them, that governs their operations. So I don't recall having any problems with gas stations operations in the city of Troy. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Is that a fair statement to make?
No, I don't. I don't think that you can paint a broad brush on all 20 plus gas stations. Well, it just depends on which one and when and what type of violation that we've had. I mean, from time to time, we've had property maintenance. We've had some, I'm sure if we go back through the history, we'll find some zoning code violations and letters and that kind of thing. But The idea of the moratorium was, at the time that we recommended that you pass it, was that we clarify those, given that we do have 22, and perhaps tighten up some of the regulations, some of the zoning code parameters, and bring that to you with the UDC. We're not done with the UDC. That's why we're asking for the extension of the moratorium. It's as simple as that.
There's no guarantee that this new document will be better or the same, or may not be an improvement at all over what our current governance
That is
is.
probably an accurate statement from your standpoint because you're one of 9, but ultimately the council approves the language in the UDC.
Right.
So that would be up to you and your colleagues as to what that final document says.
Okay. I just, my own mind, I'm not sure why we're doing this anymore. It doesn't make sense to me. So think about it. Thank you.
Mrs. Westfall.
So when this new document comes out, and I've heard it's 400 pages, is there anything in it that would prevent, after it gets approved, this Mr. Singh's property from going forward? Would there be anything that would prevent that from going forward?
Well, I think that would just depend on what the application says, what he exactly wants to do, where he wants to do it.
I think we already know what he wants to do.
Look, we have not gotten an application. Whether it was submitted online, the document is online to streamline things for people, so it's relatively easy to submit. However, we require a full application, and prior to the moratorium and at the time of the moratorium, there were outstanding items. Mr. Phillips brought up the Buster report. That was not available and had not been approved by the state as far back as 3 months ago or whenever the moratorium went into effect. I cannot tell you, I can't answer that hypothetical without having an actual application, which cannot be submitted until after the moratorium is lifted, be it the 90 days or earlier.
I personally feel like I was somewhat duped by the fact that there was no application, but there were almost 2 years of work done between the city and Mr. Singh's management or property people, and I feel like we should have known that.
This is, and that's because the way it was presented to you could be perceived as misleading. We've not had a solid 2 years of back and forth on this issue. I'd be happy to have the staff prepare the timeline of the interactions that we've had. Yes, it has spanned a 2-year time period. Mm-hmm. That's about all I can say.
Okay.
And that's when the concepts have changed from the first time until now. There's been several things that have gone on, and again, there were documents that were not able to be provided because they were still in process, so they couldn't. We can't accept an incomplete application, even had they submitted one.
But we knew they were in that process.
Well,
that's the only point I want everyone to know.
Well, and I guess I would defer to the law director, but we don't get into people's heads. If we do that and we assume that they're going to apply, but they haven't quite applied, where do we draw that line? If the application's not there, then and the moratorium goes into effect.
Were there multiple gas station applications in process during this?
In process, I don't believe so. We've had conversations since with developers and contractors that have looked at sites and expansions and demolitions since the moratorium.
Anybody as far as long as Mr. Singh?
I don't think so.
I think you would know.
I don't.
No? Okay. Thank you.
When was the first moratorium put in place? 90 days before May 30th? We've done 2. So there was no objection to the first moratorium, but there's objection to the second?
Correct.
Correct. I mean, I think that speaks volumes.
Mr. Roselle, I cannot remember if we asked this during the committee meeting. I feel like it might have been asked and Tim was willing to look into it. Do we know the last time that anyone from Mr. Singh's party was in contact with the city? Pre-moratorium.
I think the last contact was our contact with them. Prior to that, we can get that information. I don't want to speculate it. My understanding it had been some time, but what that time is, we don't know. I don't know offhand.
So what's our ballpark date for the code stuff being done,
Yeah.
finalized to us,
That was my question.
or to council, I'm sorry?
We'd like to have it to the Planning Commission first meeting in May.
That's what we're hopeful for.
Yeah.
We still have items we're working out.
Just getting
So
some
we're
language.
pretty well done
And you, yes.
to go to planning commission.
And we committed that, the council will get it at the same time as the Planning Commission.
And then hopefully
You'll
we'll-
probably have to,
Plenty of time.
call it up on a OneDrive, because I don't think it'll email to you very easily, but we will.
I'll just provide 9
we'll,
hard copies.
Just, to be fair with that, though, with such a
4,000
big document,
pages.
is anyone here prepared to go to one reading on that? I mean, I can't say that at this point.
I would hope not.
But our point was that we would get it at the same time
as planning
as planning commission, so that we would be able
To ask
to understand what they were looking at, review and ask questions through their process, so that we would be better prepared
And if
when
there
it
were
came to our
any-
process.
And if there were any changes that they wanted to make, it would be communicated with us at the same time so that we know
And
what will be.
vice versa, right.
Yes, so
So-
that we will not all be on the same
And
page.
if you have comments as you're looking through it, even if the Planning Commission is still reviewing it, that'll just inform the dialogue and should
So these
shorten
people,
the process.
so these 9 voting people are welcome to go to planning commission when they get this thing, and if they have questions, to ask planning commission. And planning
Absolutely,
commission
and
will
those
accept the
are,
questions.
those are videoed, just like in
I know
any
they're
other
videoed.
meeting, and so if you can't make the meeting, at least you can watch it today.
That's not my question. My question is if Todd has a question, or Mrs. Snee has a question, or Ms. Hickman has a question, and they go to the planning commission, are they going to be allowed to ask that question?
I believe so. We can communicate that with the chair.
Okay.
Mr. Zell.
Mr. Schilling?
It's been prior practice of the planning commission to not allow public comments.
But he just guaranteed us that he will talk to the planning commission.
Oh, usually.
Well, no,
they-
again,
They will
there's
put-
there's one member of the planning commission.
There's 2.
2, the other member has not stated
I will ask
her
Mr.
preference or not preference, but,
I will ask Mr. McGarry.
that would be something that they would have to vote on. And
I
there's
will
no
ask-
guarantee that
I
they
will
would
ask Mr.
allow
McGarry
public
that they
comment.
We will follow up with Mr. McGarry as well as the other members of the Planning Commission, one of which I'll see tomorrow, and I'll mention and ask him about it. However, I believe, as I've mentioned, maybe not at the committee meeting, but, there's an optional public hearing that the Planning Commission may have. It's optional because there's a mandatory one at the council. I would anticipate, I won't guarantee, but I anticipate that the Planning Commission would probably want a public hearing as well as the mandatory one. It's not common that they do, but this is a 400-plus page complete rewrite.
How many days are required for public hearing notification?
I don't know, do we have the 30 days at
The
the
30
Planning
day-
Commission, or just the
You have to give 30
council?
days
So like
notice.
30 days notice for the,
For public
Dispense
hearing.
with them if we're having
Mr. Rizzo,
Yes, Mr. Seaver.
so, just so I'm clear before we do vote on this, Mr. Kirby, do we believe that this will occur within 90 days?
Well, I mean,
I don't wanna have a-
there's some factors there that play into that and there's other bodies that come into it as far as the planning commission and if there's a public hearing and things of that nature. It's it's a lot to chew. It really is. I guess I'm not in a position to give any sort of assurances that 90 days will be enough because I'm not the decision maker that makes that call.
Okay, well then let me clarify the question. So the facts as presented to council right now are, we engaged in a 90-day moratorium approximately 60 days ago, which will expire at the end of May, which will be the 90th day of that prior moratorium. There was no objection stated at the time. There was no discussion about applications. There was no involvement about anything. We now ask for a second extension that was required because it took a longer for American Structure Point to get the documents to you than what was provided at the time. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's my understanding, because.
So now council is going to start for another 90-day process, which will commence on June 1st. So that gives the month of June, the month of July, and the month of August for that process to occur, which is technically 3.5 months, but a little bit longer, correct? Okay, so now my question goes to Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, can you assure that 90 days from now, we have done everything within our power so that we can address the concerns that this individual developer has brought to us, that we can know where things are?
We can certainly do our best. I guess there's another option if that's something you wanted to look at outside the UDC. If you wanted us to bring that section to you first, review that section before the other items, maybe that's a way to go to speed the process up.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I can't address that, but
Can it be approved by one section?
You could do like you do a zoning amendment. You could say, we're going to hereby appeal section X, Y, and Z, and replace it with this language as voted on by Planning Commission and City Council.
Mr. Kerber, can that happen that way?
Well, there can be multiple steps presented to the Planning Commission. I guess, we'd want to have some more clarification as far as, is this just going to be if we're going to just isolate, gas stations, I'm hesitating because this is sort of a comprehensive thing, and I would have to, and I don't want to give you, the council, a statement off the cuff when there's 350 pages that could be implicated on something like that. And to the extent that we isolate just, all right, this is how we're going to regulate gas stations in there, there could be some other factors. So say, for instance, if you're going to, there could be like flood mitigation efforts that you have to have. There could be access points that you have to the roadway and things like that. So, we could update the regulations, zoning regulations that deal with gas stations, but that might not reflect any updates or improvements to like site regulations that would be required and covered under the Unified Development Code. So you could have a situation where, for this particular applicant, that they could be under either a more lax or stringent requirements for some of those site improvements that are going to be required for that kind of thing. So, and when there's supposed to be a uniform application for, okay, this is how we're going to do stormwater, this is how we're going to do traffic access points. So all of those things, they're sort of tied in. So what seemed like a very simple question to me, I don't think is simple to answer.
No, but I think the consensus is that will be a half a year for us to get this process done, that this developer has waited to pursue his investment since he purchased the land. And I think that we as council can say, look, yeah, I get that you didn't get it till late. I get that it's a bunch of pages, but the inverse is it's time to, proverbially fish or cut bait. And so I think I would agree to one extension, but I'm not certain that a third extension would fall on the same. Personally, can't speak for anybody else, but personally, that's where I'm at.
Mr. Rizzo?
Yes, ma'am.
I think that's where you would have found the committee was at on last Monday night. My only question about Mr. Davis's suggestion is what Mr. Kerber was saying. This was, I thought, to be a comprehensive review of this document so that things would be uniform, but if the planning commission or the planning department can bring something forward sooner so that applications could be accepted while we move through things, if that's possible by more conversations, I think that can speak for our committee that we would certainly be willing to look at something separately if that still can be part of the comprehensive review.
Any else, questions, comments? Okay, anyone else in the audience would like to speak at the 2-minute period?
You all need your stopwatch. Steve Hendrickson at 975 Dickerson. The good news about this entire affair is that there are people involved. You can throw away all the blankety-blank pieces of paper that you want, but right now we're governed by the statutes that exist. We all know there's several hundred-page document coming. I understand that. We got an issue now that's going on. Depending on who you want to talk to, it's either been going on for 3 weeks or 3 years. Put your heads together and let's figure out what's fair. If you're not going to use your heads to figure out how to get this thing done, I wonder why you're all here. If you're just going to look at documents and say, yes, no, we did this, we did that, we can get AI to do that. We don't need people. You here are supposed to be doing something fair and what's best for the city. If you think the city should not have another gas station, give them the finger now and get it over with rather than drag it on. If you think they've done what they think is logical to get this thing done, and there's some technicality somewhere that you think is holding it up unnecessarily, you have the authority to do something. You can make an exception to this thing. Anyway, I'm begging you to use people skills. You all got people skills, you wouldn't be here. So let's figure out what's the right thing to do and be done with it. Okay? I don't want to wait another 3 months. We should all know what we're going to do within the next 3 weeks, for God's sakes, or 3 days. So anyway, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes, ma'am.
So I guess the application is online. Is it taken offline currently since we are in a moratorium?
No, there's no separate application for gas stations versus anything else. I mean, it's one zoning application. You tell us what you want to use, you give it, the use sheet you want, but we just can't accept it during the moratorium if it's related to gas stations.
Okay.
Have they filed a completed one?
No.
Any other questions? Anyone else want to talk about anything on the agenda or continue talking about current topic? If not, we'll move on to our resolutions tonight. Mrs. Knight, could you please read Resolution R 24, 2026?
Resolution number R24, 2026. Resolution authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety of the City of Troy, Ohio, to enter into a full-service street lighting agreement with Miami Valley Lighting, LLC, and declaring an emergency. This will be an agreement for a 7-year period, retroactive to January 1, 2026, first reading.
Move to suspend.
Second.
Motion to suspend by Mr. Whidden, seconded by Mr. Phillips. Mrs. Knight, could you please call the roll?
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Twist, seconded by Mr. Sievert. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Mrs. Knight, will you please read ordinance O-18, 2026?
Ordinance number 018, 2026. Ordinance accepting the final record plan of the Somerset Reserve Plan Development Residential Phase 2 and the dedication of right-of-way. This has been recommended for approval by the Troy Planning Commission. First reading.
Move for suspension.
Second.
Motion to suspend readings is Mr. Phillips, second by Mr. Twist. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes. Move to adopt?
Motion
Second.
motion to adopt by Mr. Whidden, second by Ms. Hickman. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted.
Mrs. Knight, will you please read ordinance O-19, 2026, please?
Ordinance number 019, 2026. An ordinance declaring a moratorium extension for a period of 90 days on the processing, issuance, and approval of new applications for community-oriented residential social service facilities, and on the processing, issuance, and approval of new applications for automobile fuel dispensing stations and automobile service stations in the city of Troy, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. This is the first reading.
Move for suspension.
Second.
Moved for suspension by Mr. Phillips, second by Mrs. Hickman. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Twist, second by Mr. Phillips. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
No.
Ordinance is adopted.
Mrs. Knight, could you please read ordinance O 2026?
Ordinance number 020, 2026. Ordinance authorizing the Board of Park Commissioners to enter into a lease with the Community Improvement Corporation of Troy, Ohio, regarding the Barn in the Park property located within Troy Community Park and declaring an emergency. This would be the first reading. This is recommended by the Board of Park Commissioners.
Move to suspend.
Second.
Motion to suspend by Mr. Twist, second by Mr. Whidden. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Move to adopt?
Second.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Whidden, second by Mr. Twist. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted.
Mrs. Knight, could you please read ordinance O 21, 2026?
Ordinance number 021, 2026. Ordinance authorizing the use of public areas for the 2026 Troy Strawberry Festival, notwithstanding conflicting provisions of the Troy codified ordinances further approving the use of an area for the sale of beer subject to the issuance of proper permits by the State of Ohio and procurement of liquor liability insurance, and authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety of the City of Troy, Ohio, to enter into an agreement with the Troy Area Chamber of Commerce, therefore, and declaring an emergency. This is basically the agreement to permit the Troy Strawberry Festival for 2026.
Move to suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend readings.
Second.
Mr. Whidden, second by Mrs. Snee. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Sievert,
Second.
second by Ms. Hickman. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
No.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted.
Mrs. Knight, please read ordinance O 22-2026, please.
Ordinance number O-22, 2026. Ordinance permitting the use of certain real property in the designated outdoor refreshment area for use as a designated outdoor refreshment area for the Troy Strawberry Festival, June 5 through June 7, 2026, and declaring an emergency. This will authorize the designated outdoor area, expansion area, to be activated. First reading.
Move to suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend by Mr. Whidden, second by Mr. Sievert. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Whidden? Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mrs. Westfall, second by Mrs. Snee. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Sievert?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
No.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted.
Thank you. Do we have presentation? Presentation by Jennifer Nicely, Child Advocacy Center.
Hello. Are you going to try to pull it up? Oh, I do it here? Oh, fancy, okay.
Noon
She
improved.
said-
Noon improved.
She said, yeah, she said this is the first time.
You're the first one.
I'm so far away, let's find the, here we go. Okay, nice, thank you. Okay, I'm Jen Nisley, the program director for the Child Advocacy Center Isaiah's Place. So I like to come yearly and just share kind of our updates. I do this with all the jurisdictions in Miami County that support our program, typically by way of your police department's budget. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, so I'd like to take this opportunity just to share kind of what we're seeing, and not only in our county, but here locally in Troy. So I just have a super short presentation. If you were not on council last time I presented or you're not familiar with what we do, we respond to the allegations of child abuse in Miami County. We're a program under Isaiah's Place, but we work with the mandated investigators in the county. Our job is to make that process a little bit more kinder and gentler, more trauma-informed, kid-friendly for kids who come forward with disclosures of abuse. So instead of going to places like the police department and being interviewed maybe in an adult suspect interrogation room or being interviewed in a hospital room, they come to our location at Isaiah's Place for a kid-friendly, trauma-informed, legally sound interview. We gather information for purposes of everyone's investigation, what's needed for medical and mental health treatment, and then make those appropriate follow-up and referrals. We also have free on-site mental health, which we added within a year of opening just because of the need locally for trauma-based services. And so last year in 2025, we served 193 children from Miami County. That was close to a 40% increase for us from the previous year. Primarily, we're seeing all minor victims of sexual abuse come through the Advocacy Center. We see a portion of the severe physical abuse cases, maybe severe neglect cases. The other section is for some online extortion or child-produced pornography, things like that. Those kiddos come to us for their interviews as well. And then the other section covers kids who maybe have been witness to some form of abuse, witness to like a significant DV, a homicide, something that's basically a significant traumatic event, and there's a purpose or a need to talk to a child to gather that information. They can come through our center as well. That's just the age breakdown of kiddos that we saw. So the 44% of the kids that we see are that 11 to 17 age range, so the school age group. This is the breakdown by jurisdiction. So we have the different law enforcement jurisdictions in the county, as well as we serve some kids who, let's say they live in our county and went for a visit at a relative's house in Indiana, and they live here and there's a need to gather the information. So as opposed to making that kid drive back to Indiana to maybe speak with their law enforcement, they can come to our center here in Miami County. So sometimes there's some different law enforcement agencies. So Troy is that blue number that has 24 above it. That's how many cases specifically were from Troy last year. This is a little further breakdown of their cases by number of forensic interviews we did and the number of cases that we had. Sometimes we have one case that has maybe 3 kids we have to interview. Excuse me, and so that's why there's a little bit of difference there. Just a couple highlights of our program. We continue to also try to do a lot of outreach and community awareness, so whether that's providing presentations, we do trainings. Kind of a highlight for us this past year, it took us about 3 years to get through every law enforcement jurisdiction in the county, but we just finished actually Troy in November, so we went and trained their entire staff, so road crew and all, on just some basics about child abuse, the CAC kind of protocol and the model, kind of what it looks like, how to cross paths with our service, and kind of how to gather some minimal facts in the field. We did that with Piqua and Tip City as well. We continue to provide some of the prevention curriculum to our local school system. So there was a law, Aaron's Law passed in 2023 requiring public K through 12 schools to provide sexual abuse prevention. So we provide a curriculum for our schools by purchasing that. They can funnel under our contract, if you will, so it's a cost savings to them. And then we're trained facilitators as well and provide some backup and support to our, usually the school counselors and the SROs are the ones that are implementing that. Again, I talked about our therapist. She provided over 690 sessions of free trauma-based services last year. One of the main reasons we added her was while there are some professionals in adjoining counties, we did not have a whole lot of folks in this county who specialize in not only serving children, but children who've been victims of trauma, and who want to see that population. You can imagine that's a difficult population for treatment. And so a lot of our kids were getting waitlisted for other out-of-county services or having to drive a ways to get to services, and that obviously posed a lot of barriers for a lot of our families, so we brought her in to provide that on site. And these are just some comments that we gather some feedback after families come through on how they felt about the process. Again, our goal is really to make it different for them, to feel different. We know by supporting the kids better initially, we have better outcomes not only for them in their kind of future health and well-being. We typically have better cases prosecution-wise, which again is kind of better for all of us as a society. So we try to kind of gather how we're doing, what we're doing well on, and what we can improve on, and these are just some of our feedback. And that's it. I'm open if there's any questions or anything that you guys have. Again, we support your, appreciate your support of the program. Like I said, this is our 3rd year, and one of the beauties of this program, by not being a government agency, is we've been able to fill in the gaps and kind of respond to what the specific needs are in Miami County. So like the prevention was something that the ESC came and asked for that. And so as needs arise, we're able to fill those gaps, which we're super proud of. Any questions? Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you provide curriculum to the schools, or if a kid reports to the counselor, then there's specific, how does that work?
Yeah, so we purchased the Child Safety Matters curriculum. So it's a kind of a research-based best practice model that we purchase, and then it's like a train-the-trainer model. So most schools use their SROs or their guidance counselors that get trained in it, and then they're able to provide, the law requires 1 hour for each grade, and so they're able to provide that. So we've been able to kind of absorb them into our account, so each school is not having to pay for it. But then also my staff is trained facilitators as well. So if the school runs into an issue with providing that program, we can step in. The other thing is it gives them some support. There's a lot of reluctance and kind of hesitancy when it first came out that they were going to have to do that. So we've responded to quite a bit of just calls like, hey, how do I handle this? Or hey, this came up, what do you suggest? We've been able to be a resource and kind of partner with the schools and provide that backup for them.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Just a
Mr.
quick
Seaver.
question. So are you primarily doing this for the civil capacity for children's services? Or are you doing it for the criminal prosecution aspect of it?
Yeah, so everything. So historically, prior to this, CPS maybe would have done the interview, or law enforcement, or both, or we were duplicating efforts, and so this process brings that together. So at our interview, while we're conducting it, the detective is there, the caseworker is there, and an advocate from victim witness. And so we're gathering information for not only a potential criminal case to assess safety, which CPS uses, we're also gathering stuff that's going to be needed to determine what type of medical exam is necessary, and then also for mental health referrals. So it's a more holistic interview so that all those different people don't have to do their own interviews.
Right, so then are the records disseminated to each one of those agencies collectively, or are they retained in Isaiah's place?
Yeah, so the audio-video recording goes with law enforcement. It's part of their evidence. Mm-hmm.
So not with Children's Services?
No.
Anyone else?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yep,
Thank you for coming.
Mrs. Knight, announcements or anything this week?
No, sir.
Comments? Mayor?
I will just thank Jen for coming and being here tonight. It would be a wonderful thing if we didn't need this facility and these services, but what they do is pretty amazing. The way they work with the families and the kids. And I think you give tours, don't you? Yeah. I would encourage you to go out and take a look at their facility because it's pretty amazing. I also wanted to congratulate 2 of our fire apprentices who just finished some of their training. Joa was here tonight. I don't know if Caleb was here or not, but one of them was here tonight for the swearing in of Aaron Colvin, who we also congratulate. And that's it. Thank you.
Director of Public Service and Safety, Mr. Titterington.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Mr. Friggy.
I'm so shocked, I have nothing either.
Director of Law, Mr. Kerber.
Mr. President, I have
4
nothing
for
this
4.
evening either.
Mr. Twist.
Nothing this evening.
Mr. Phillips.
Following the theme.
Ms. Hickman.
I'll break it. I had the pleasure of meeting up with one of the members, one of the citizens of our ward last week, and just she wanted to talk to me about the park and just some things that she notices on the east side. Nothing that we haven't talked about before. A lot of it was brought up at my ward meeting, but she wasn't able to attend, so she just wanted to take a walk, and it was a beautiful day out, so I was happy to do so. I think it was actually my idea to offer that. And so it was great to get to connect. I got to meet some of her neighbors, and it was just great to kind of be out in the neighborhood, connect with some of the people in my ward. And then I also got to attend Mrs. Hayner's tea party yesterday. Felt very patriotic for America's 250. And I know they have the second edition of the tea party is sold out, but they have a Jubilee Ball that sounds very fancy and fun. So if you need your patriotic dose, the Hayner is the place.
Mr. Whitten.
Question for the Service and Safety Director. I'm sure we must be coming up, it's probably in the calendar, I just did not see it. When are we doing the relaxed rules for yard refuse? I'm sure we usually have this time.
Last week.
Last week.
I'm, okay. I'm
Keep
sorry.
putting them out, they'll pick
I
them.
must, I knew I missed in the calendar.
We announced that too.
Yeah, we talked about it.
April 4 to 6 to 10.
Maybe.
Hey, put them out, they'll pick it up.
Don't I have egg on my face? I'm done.
Mrs. Marshall.
Well, I wasn't here when you probably talked about the street cleanup or whatever. I just wanted to thank everybody the staff who went around and cleaned up all of our brush, because I probably put out a whole city's worth. And did you not see it? There was a lot. And I felt really bad about it, and I just really appreciated that. So thank you for doing that, and then congratulations to our newest firefighter as well.
Mr. Schilling.
You have nothing at this time?
Mrs. Westfall.
I just wanted to congratulate the new firefighter too. The older I get, the younger they look, though. I'm like, oh my gosh.
You gotta see the one cop then.
And then I really appreciate Isaiah's Place. They do amazing, amazing work, and we should be very proud to have them in our community. And I'd also like to know if Andrea Beach's architect is going to be able to go look at Haywood.
We are meeting, staff and I, Tim and I are meeting with her at the end of this week.
Okay.
To discuss options.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Sneed.
Congratulations to our newest firefighter, of course, and just a reminder that there are Arbor Day ceremonies this Friday, April 24th at 10 a.m. at Duke Park, and a tree will be planted in memory of Steve Baker, which I think is a very nice thing, and if you're able to attend that, that sounds wonderful. If
And
school wasn't in session, I would be there.
Inclement weather, if there is, it's
There
at
could be.
Bravo, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Three quick things. Congratulations to the new firemen. As many of you know, my father served in that capacity for several decades, and it's an honor to have the service of those individuals. The second issue is I want to remind everybody that everyone says, well, you never come to any meetings or you never know what's going on. Chris Manning was here last committee meeting. The expansion of the historic district meeting from the state representative is on April 28th at 6 p.m. at the Troy-Miami County Library. I think it's important for people to go so we can make an informed decision. I haven't made a decision. I want to know what it's all about. So, but if we're going to have that, I think it's important that we become engaged and do that. And second, I echo Isaiah's Place. The Liebargers have been not a personal friends of ours for a long time, but also do a great job for the community with that place out there. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Other than the Arbor Day thing that Mrs. Sneed covered, which I would have covered, State of the City is tomorrow. Thursday, I'm sorry, 4/23, yep, Thursday, I can't count. Mr. Whitten may have already thanked Mr. Titterton and staff, but the spot I noticed on Stony Ridge has been paved, so that was pretty quickly after you asked. Other than that, staff have any comments? Development, IT, fire?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I want to thank Councilman Siebert for stealing my thunder. I wanted to mention that we were invited to attend the presentation on April 28th from the Troy Historic Preservation Alliance. That meeting, we did send out a letter to all property owners that are affected by the National Register boundary. In that letter that went out, we actually stated it was going to be held at Hayner, so we'll be doing a correction letter saying it will be held at the Miami County Public Library. So just so, in case you guys get questions of that.
Actually, it's downstairs in the conference room, I think.
Correct, yep. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other staff? Any other public people?
Bradley Barringer, 105 Crestwood Drive. I would like, with your permission, Mr. Rozell, to ask a couple questions of Mr. Phillips, because this touches something that he does. Mr. Phillips, with the Isaiah's Place, I'm just kind of curious, what kind of gaps do they fill between what they do and what CASA does?
Well, they provide counseling, the comprehensive thing that Jen was talking about the interviews, the intakes, and all of that. CASA is more after the fact when a child comes into the purview of the CPS system.
Okay.
When the child comes into the system, we get involved at the court level because we have to have we don't have to have, but the court will assign the case to CASA. Mm-hmm. And then one of our advocates, who is a complete volunteer, will take the case and do all of the things that we do. And they will spend literally hours and hours and hours in contacting as many people as we can that has contact with that child, whether it's a family member, and that may go down several avenues of levels of family. We will deal with the teachers, if applicable, child care, medical therapy, anything that touches that child, we try to interview, and eventually we will come to a plan of what the CASA advocate views is in the best interest of the child, either for placement and or care on a medical end or a school plan or something like that.
So if I understand you correctly, let me see if I understand this correctly, you guys shepherd them through once it's in the court system,
right,
so to speak, whereas Isaiah's Place is pre-court system.
Right.
Okay.
And then the advocate actually develops a mentorship on a certain level with the child, because we are required to have contact with the child on a monthly basis. Mm-hmm. Some of our older children have made very positive comments about how that advocate has impacted them later in life. They actually kind of fill a parental role, but the advocate is there for the child's benefit and representing the child to the court system and with our reports and recommendations, and not the parent, not the caregiver, or not anybody else. We don't necessarily agree with CPS on some issues. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But it's strictly for that child's benefit that we represent them.
Okay. Because I detected a little bit of an overlap in there, which is why I wanted to ask that question, because it seems like they might do some of the same things that you do, only on in a different stage of the case.
I think it's a really totally different level of contact and commitment and relationship with the child.
Yeah. Sounds
more
like,
personable.
Sounds like it is. Sounds like it is. And how long have you been doing it?
I don't know, 5 or 6 years.
Okay. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? No one else? Our next meeting is May 4th, 7 o'clock, right here.
Dress as your Star Wars character.
Yep.
What?
I said dress as your favorite Star Wars character. May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
He doesn't get the joke.
Actually, I didn't hear him. Adjourn.